This show always makes me really hungry for cake and really want to go to New York, which I can't have or do either of those things, so I guess this will have to do instead. The joke is that I'm poor. Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York has gone on a really interesting journey, as most new British musicals do. Starting off in regional theatres, smaller theatres, refining the show more and more and more, and also refining the name. Until finally it got a London run last year at the Kiln, and has now transferred to the Criterion Theatre in the heart of the West End. It's so great to see more and more new British musicals get this chance and this opportunity to be on these bigger stages. After really enjoying it at the Kiln, do I think that this show has refined itself enough to prove itself on a West End stage? Let's find out. But if you haven't seen Phase 4, hi, I'm Ellie, I talk about theatre. I am the most chaotic theatre person on the internet. I do reviews, I do discussions, I do video essays, and if any of that sounds interesting to you, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me out, helps the channel. But let's dive in to two strangers who are carrying a cake across New York. It really is what it says on the tin. I mean, it is really weird to think about, but the idea of a rom-com is something that is a little bit rarer in musical theatre. Of course, there are other shows that you can point to, a lot of these being, naturally, film adaptations like Pretty Woman. But even within that, and within the rom-com musicals we already have, Two Strangers still feels really unique. Managing to capture the vibe and the essence of a Hallmark movie. A feel-good, sweet, Christmassy story. Which feels weird to say in April, but trust me, the Christmas stuff, it's just enough that it doesn't mean it can only be enjoyed at Christmas. And I think what really makes this show quite lovely to see is that it is relatively simple. I mean, even the concept is simple, and how it's executed is simple, but it achieves what it's aiming for so well. It's simply two strangers having a meet cute in New York. And I think why this show works, why it manages to capture its audiences, is for the same reason that I feel like a lot of rom-coms do. The characters. This show only focuses on two characters. Dougal, who is a 25-year-old Brit who is flying in for his father's wedding. And Robin, the sister of the bride, the much younger bride. And it explores these two's relationship, their conflicts, their very different stances on life, and what draws them together. It takes you through their quirks, their motivations, what's holding them back, and why they're even here in the first place. And because these characters just naturally have such different natures, it's really interesting to see them interact. You have Dougal, who's really wide-eyed and bubbly and excited and just, clearly wants a friend to talk to. And Robin, who wants absolutely nothing to do with that, is stressed out, overworked, underappreciated, and holds a lot of baggage with her relationship with her sister and her sister's fiancé. There's so much here to explore, even beyond the initial characters, who feel like very clear archetypes who are set to clash. But with adding that backstory there, it gives so many more layers to them as characters. Easing you into the idea of who they are really easily, and then being able to build upon that, so you really have this show to get to know them. It's the contrast between the two of them that makes it really interesting to watch them do practically anything. Whether it be just carrying a cake across New York, whether it be sightseeing, whether it be just arguing in a hotel room. There's so much here underneath the surface that manages to bubble up, and they explore these conflicts so interestingly. This show, in almost its entirety, hinges on this relationship and being engaged with them. And I think the journey they take you on is so fun and so lovely and cute and sweet that you can't help but be charmed by it. Or engaged in the moments where they're fighting each other, where their worldviews are clashing. And I think these two are matched with a script that is so incredibly witty, taking every opportunity it can to land a joke, which in this version have been refined, and Tutty and Gift's pacing in their delivery of these lines has gotten even tighter to a point where this is probably one of the funniest shows in the West End right now. It has a very dry wit to it, which is very British. There's a lot of wordplay in here, some moments where they really play on your expectations and subvert them, and a lot of comedy that plays on the naivety of some of the characters. Well, one of the characters. And I think that's another testament to how interesting these characters are to watch on stage, both playing off of each other in a way that makes everything feel comedic. Some of the best jokes in the show coming from the fact that Dougal's getting things wrong or is misunderstanding, and the dry way that Robin just kind of corrects him. I think the sweetness of this show and its charm just makes it really easy to love. This journey that these two characters go on and the way that their relationship builds from that. The ebb and flow and slowly seeing why these two are kind of perfect for each other. Let's talk a little bit about the score and the music of this show, which I feel like complements it fairly well. There's a nice blend here between musical theatre numbers and songs inspired by different musical genres. A lot of these feeling a little bit more light, which matches fairly well to the rom-com nature of this show. I think this show's magnum opus is New York, what I will dub as the opening number, but it's not quite. It's like one song in, but the first song is kind of just instrumental, but I'm saying it's practically the first song. Not only is this song catchy as hell, but I think it also perfectly introduces Dougal's nature, his naivety, his excitement, and sets up what is the core of a lot of the journey through this show. Dougal's relationship with his father and how he's felt abandoned by him, but now it doesn't matter because he's finally going to meet him. That really relatable need of his for the validation from a father figure who's barely been in his life. I think this song also manages to do something that is quite hard in musical comedies, and some of the best musical comedies don't even manage to get this, but it's making the actual song and the lyrics funny and getting a laugh out of that. It's so much harder in a song to set up funny punchlines or to even get a laugh. And a lot of the dry reactions from Robin correcting him or butting in and being in shock at how he's reacting to everything here is really, really funny. I love some of the ballads in this show, the quieter moments. The best one I feel like being What'll It Be? We're introduced to Robin a lot through the relationship to Dougal, in moments where she's very combative and dismissal. And to contrast this, one of the first moments we get of Robin after she split off from Dougal is very reflective. She's working at her job and taking a moment to kind of reflect and share a more vulnerable side of her. It's so important to getting you on the side of Robin in this show. And it's also just this beautiful song. So stunning. The orchestrations being so gorgeous. Quite a few of the songs in this show do feel a little bit inconsequential. But actually, I feel like when you look past the surface of it, you see the importance of them to building this relationship between Robin and Dougal. Things like On the App or Under the Mistletoe are kind of offshoots moments where they're making fun of Christmas songs or going through Tinder. Moments that if you read them on paper, you kind of go, do we need this in this musical? Do we need a whole song dedicated to it? But what they manage to do is they provide these really important character building moments between Robin and Dougal, building this relationship, showing them finally getting along, finding common ground, and just them having a fun time, bonding. Something that is often done just through the script is done here in a way that it manages to musicalize it as well. While these may not be the songs that stand out or the songs that you leave humming at the end of the show, they're still very important in bringing you into the relationship between Robin and Dougal. I think a lot of this show has a really unique sound, which is blended with this musical theatre score, which makes it have a lot of strong variety. I wouldn't call it the most heavy hitter musical theatre score ever, but I think it matches the tone of the show. It's sweet. There's really nice moments of reflection in there. And most importantly, I think it complements the vibe and nature of the show. Let's speak a little bit about design, because this is the one thing I kind of wish they had elevated a little bit more from the Kiln run. So, if you didn't see the show at the Kiln, the set of this show was in thrust staging, and at the back was this panel with the band. But essentially the main action was this round disc, almost like the base of a snow globe, with these towers and towers of suitcases piled up on top. I think this set worked better at the Kiln than it does in the West End. My problem is not with the actual snow globe bit, as I will dub it, because I'm pretty sure that's what they're going for with this design. I think the suitcases and the design of that and the levels that it gives and the different panels that pull out are really, really good, really visually interesting, and allowed this set to have a lot of flexibility, as well as the revolve going around on stage, giving you different angles of this set, and giving it a real 360 nature, without the need to keep on bringing things on and off. My problem is what's behind, because now that they've moved into the West End, and the fact that they're not in a thrust staging anymore, they've pushed the band to the side, and now the back is just a black curtain. And I feel like for the West End, it just needs something at the back. It just needs something. Whether I don't think it needs much. I think it needs to keep its simplicity, but I just wanted a little something. Because I feel like when the show gives you a little bit of pop in the background, this set becomes a lot more interesting. There's a moment where you get a street light come out. There's a moment where you see snow. And these are the moments where the stage feels most alive. And I feel like even having one of the street lights or something, just a little pop of color more at the back, would have just made this set feel a little bit more visually interesting than just a black curtain. Obviously, I don't think this is the thing that kills the show completely. It's very nitpicky, but I feel like it just needs a little something to elevate it. To elevate what is already a very lovely set. Honestly, what might have been nice would be something like a colour wall. Something a little bit like what Dear Evan Hansen had. Something where you can have a black basic wall, but you can also add a little pop of colour as well. But as I said, if that is one of my only massive issues with this show, it's done something well, you know? Now, let's talk about this two-person cast, because... oh my god. Sam Tutty and Joanna Gift are brilliant. They're so lovely. They perfectly understand the vibe of the characters of this show and bring you into their lives. Let's start with Tutty, who plays Dougal. Dougal is a character who could be really, really annoying. It's very easy to see how this character can be annoying. His wide-eyed, innocent naivety could possibly be a little bit overbearing. But I think Sam Tutty brings such a genuine edge to his performance as Dougal. It honestly feels like he is experiencing this for the first time. You, alongside him, feel the joy that he feels, the excitement, as well as having that really important context behind the full performance of his father and the mixture of fear and joy that he feels that he will finally be included with his life, that he'll finally get to meet him. Tutty manages to be charming and engaging and so funny in all of the best ways. And his vocals, oh my god, his vocals. The way he performs New York, this absolutely soaring number that is just filled with absolute excitement. You can hear it in his voice, how much this means to him. But Tutty also manages to sell the quieter moments. A great moment being a phone call that happens in Act 2. A much slower song where you get this really reflective moment with him that honestly choked me up a little bit. with the realizations that he makes, he manages to bring you into Dougal's life, into his struggles, into his passion for this city, a city he's never been to, and really delivers a human exploration of this character, paired perfectly with Joanna Gift's Robin. A great parallel to the excitement of Dougal is Robin. She's tasked with so much to do, she's balancing 50 different things, and she absolutely does not have the time to deal with Dougal at all. The chemistry that she manages to create with Dougal and the changes in their relationship as she slowly warms to him is one of my favourite parts about Gift's portrayal. She starts off very closed-walled, she's not dealing with any of this shit, and she's slowly worn down by Dougal a bit, eventually giving in to him, and slowly through this, you start to see the other side of her. I think the pair in this story just bring out the best in each other, and it's so well portrayed by these two, which I think is one of the most important things in a rom-com of this nature. And that's not even mentioning Gift's vocals, which are a gift in their own right. Oh my god. Really selling these more powerful moments like What'll It Be, like Be Happy when she's really reflecting on that statement and that idea and why she doesn't relate to it at all. Or the moment where she has to let Dougal down a little bit in the Act 2 song He Doesn't Exist. These songs that show off Gift's vocals spectacularly. I think Two Strangers Carry a Cake Across New York is a great addition to the West End. It hasn't honestly changed that much since its run earlier at the Kiln, but I don't think that matters too much. I think the simplicity of this show is wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful show that is carried so well by two extremely talented performers who bring you into these characters so well, allowing you into this intimate journey of two strangers carrying a cake across New York. But have you seen this show? What do you think? Did you enjoy it at the Kiln or in the West End? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. If you did enjoy this video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really helps me, it helps the channel. Here's some links to some other videos on screen right now, and a link to my Instagram. I want to drop me a follow over there. But that's it for me today, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.